to a quad.
Talking about that, because let's be real. On the old WNBA front, this is the most relevant the league is going to be for the next couple of weeks. Because we can be honest, during a couple of weeks, Caitlin Clark is out injured. Doesn't matter what happens. Does not matter what happens. No one cares.
The WNBA is once again facing serious scrutiny, but this time, it's not about questionable calls or hard fouls. It's something deeper. Stephanie White's recent update on Caitlin Clark's groin injury has sent shockwaves through the basketball world. Her uncertain tone hinted at something more serious than fans or the league may be ready to acknowledge.
This groin injury, and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our strength and conditioning and our physical, our AT staff do what they do best. But yeah, I found out late last night, and then we'll treat it day to day.
Back-to-back a factor at all with that?
I mean, I don't know if it's a factor from a physical standpoint, from an athletic training standpoint. Certainly in my mind, it is. But at the same time, she's shown that she's tough and she's a quick healer. So.
Reality is tough to ignore. Caitlin Clark has taken hit after hit all season, and now it's finally taken a toll. The WNBA's biggest star is sidelined with an injury that shocked a lot of people, or maybe it's something they simply didn't want to see coming.
Seconds left. How much patience do I need to have before I can start going nuclear? Because I am getting very frustrated with what I am seeing. To everybody that said Caitlin Clark didn't look like herself, salute to you. For everybody that said Caitlin Clark might be going through something, salute to you. Clearly, you all saw what that person that stands there like this can't see. We all saw what was going on. Man, something's not right.
Stephanie White addressed Caitlin Clark's unexpected groin injury. Fans were hoping for clear answers and reassurance. Instead, they got a coach who seemed caught off guard, admitting she didn't know much and offering vague, uncertain updates.
She reported yesterday, her pain in the left groin.
It had to have been at some point during the day because they took her out yesterday, for the MRI. So I'm not exactly sure. I didn't hear about it until we heard from our training staff last night.
And with the MRI, did it show a strain or anything, or?
I don't. You'll have to ask our training.
The lack of clarity left everyone, fans, media, and even the team wondering just how serious the situation really is. Next voice late last night, Stephanie White revealed something that raised eyebrows. Caitlin Clark had been dealing with pain and even had an MRI earlier on Wednesday, but White
rushed her back. And within rushing her back, she re-injured that same quad. And then you rushed her back again. And then within rushing her back, she was forced to put pressure and put stress on different areas surrounding that quad. That leads us to our most recent groin injury. I don't need a degree to think for myself. If you've ever been to the gym, you got some chest pain, next thing you know, you got some shoulder pain. Why? Because instead of using your chest muscle to do the exercises, you compensate and start using your shoulder too much.
Didn't hear about it until that evening when the training staff informed her. That kind of delay is unusual and doesn't reflect the level of communication fans expect from a professional organization, especially when it involves the league's biggest star. Next
is, she's dealing with a lot herself, right? Stephanie White. Of course, she's missed, 2 games so far because of personal issues. So I don't necessarily know what her personal issues are. Hopefully it's nothing like DeWanna Bonner's. But nonetheless, she's dealing with some things of her own. So maybe it's a tad bit difficult to keep up with every single thing that happens with her players. And then, of course, she got this news late at night. So I don't know what time this could have been. It was posted early in the morning, so, she's probably just now getting into the facility and trying to figure out what's going on with Caitlin. Let me see the MRI. What happened with the MRI? They probably called her right before she can get all this.
Voice what made Stephanie White's press conference even more unsettling was how often she admitted to being out of the loop. I'm not exactly sure, she said. I didn't hear about it until our training staff told me last night. That kind of statement raised real concerns. It painted a picture of a coaching staff that wasn't fully informed about their star players' condition. And that lack of communication is hard to ignore. Next voice. If you're finding this update useful, don't forget to subscribe. Caitlin Clark's current injury has raised more concern than her previous quad issue, and for
when she says you have to ask our training staff, are any of us really going to get the opportunity to actually talk to a training staff member? I don't think that actually is going to happen. So like what Stephanie White is doing right there is basically saying, I can't tell you, even if I could tell you, it's not going to be announced through me. It's going to be announced just how they announce everything else. They're going to announce it through a press conference. They're going to announce it through a press release, a tweet with the information. These organizations are very private, especially with, the injury information, because people go crazy
for good reason. When she was dealing with that earlier setback, Coach Stephanie White was transparent, offering clear timelines and detailed updates that kept everyone in the loop. This time, though, the picture is much blurrier. The information being shared is vague, with no solid answers, and that's left fans wondering if this injury might be more serious or harder to manage than anyone expected. Next voice. Clark's groin injury didn't just happen. It's the result of months of physical wear and tear that the WNBA hasn't done enough to prevent. The timing is especially alarming, coming right after a rough game against the Connecticut Sun where she was poked in the eye by JCS Sheldon and blindsided.
Caitlin Clark does not need to play another game until she's completely 100% healthy. If that means she has to miss multiple weeks, so be it, because you don't want to get into the habit of her rushing back from injuries when she's not fully healthy. And we know if one nagging injury can lead to another nagging injury. So the best thing that the Indiana Fever can do, regardless of what Caitlin Clark wants to do, you have to protect your star, your superstar, because she's going to want to get on the court. But until she's 100% healthy, she does not need to play another basketball game for the Indiana.
By Marina Mabrial just days after returning from a quad injury on June 14th. Since then, she's clearly been struggling. Her shooting has dropped off sharply, just 1 for 23 from beyond the arc in her last 3 games. Against Seattle, she had a season low of 6 points and, for the first time, had more turnovers than points. What once looked like a simple slump now feels more like a red flag that went ignored. Next voice. If numbers don't lie, Caitlin Clark has been the clear target of excessive physical play this season. She's been on the receiving end of 17% of all flagrant fouls in the WNBA, which is staggering for just one player. Even more telling, 8 of those fouls came from a single team. That's not a coincidence, it's a pattern. From Kennedy Carter's blindside hit to the repeated rough play from the Chicago Sky, and the poke body check combo against Connecticut, Clark has taken punishment that would have sidelined many players permanently in past eras.
Real talk, a lot of y'all records she coming for him. At the end of the day, y'all can't stop nothing, bro. Y'all trying to beat her up and bruise her up and take her out the game and injure her, bro. We know what the motive is, dog. Like, don't nobody like that. I don't vouch for that. I don't like that. You hear me? Y'all not leading. Look, y'all need to get that out y'all heart, cause that's some deep demonic stuff. The way y'all thinking and how y'all moving and having y'all little meetings and all of that and wanna plot against this woman and her teammates that have her back. Y'all better leave her, Sophie Cunningham.
And what's worse, the league's response has been minimal. Marina Mabri's hard hit after Clark was already poked in the eye resulted in just a fine and a flagrant foul upgrade. No suspension. No real accountability. Meanwhile, Clark keeps taking the hits, and the league's top talent remains exposed. It's a growing problem that can't be brushed aside any longer. Next voice. Caitlin Clark's fans haven't held back. Social media has been flooded with frustration, with many calling for her to walk away from the WNBA entirely. Some say the league never deserved her to begin with. One fan summed up the sentiment bluntly: if Clark decided to leave and play overseas, they'd not only understand, they'd cheer her on. And if that meant the WNBA took a hit or even collapsed, so be it. That reaction isn't just emotion, it's backed by numbers. When Clark was sidelined earlier this season, national TV viewership for WNBA games dropped by 55%, falling from 1.81 million
finding out this morning that
probably need to hold out again today. It's just, it really is a day-to-day thing. And I think for us, making sure that we're prioritizing her long-term health and wellness. You know, it's anybody who's had some of these types of injuries understand that sometimes it's a process. She's a quick healer, and she's been doing everything that she can to get back on the floor. So, you know, we just want to make sure that we're hypersensitive to the big picture.
To 847,000. The Indiana Fever's ticket prices also took a major dive, dropping by nearly half. At the same time, Clark has received technical fouls after being hit, while those responsible often walk away with little more than a fine. The message many fans are hearing: the league appears more invested in protecting its veterans than in standing up for the player who's brought in the most attention, money, and growth. Next voice. What's especially frustrating is how the mainstream sports media has handled Caitlin Clark's situation. They're quick to celebrate her talent and the boost she brings to ratings, but when it comes to the constant physical targeting she faces, they've mostly stayed quiet. The media that eagerly talked about the Caitlin Clark effect has largely ignored the Caitlin Clark targeting effect. When veteran players and analysts...
Let's look at the WNBA and Caitlin Clark. Who is set to make WNBA players more money? Is it Angel Reese, the author of the Me Bound? The Me Bound that she's now going to copyright, and she's trying to get all the rights to it so she can glorify the Me Bound? Basically a made-up stat for someone who can't hit layups? No, it's not Angel Reese. Does Angel Reese help add to the legend that is Caitlin Clark? For sure. Caitlin Clark is going to